the emotional side of type 1 diabetes. I feel like this is not talked about at all in the space in the type 1 diabetes community. And I know when after my diagnosis in 2017, I felt like my emotions were all over the place. I felt a ton of negative emotions. And that's what I want to talk about, how I went through it, how I coped with it, and what helped me get over these negative emotions to a much better mental place. So, stick around to the end of the video. I promise if you're dealing with negative emotions due to your type 1 diabetes, this is just going to be insightful and you're not going to feel alone in this journey. My name, if you don't know me, is Martin Santis. I am a type 1 diabetic myself, and I'm also a wellness coach. And I specifically help people living with type 1 diabetes master control over their blood sugar levels so they feel confident in themselves and they improve their wellness and overall health. So let's jump into it. And I want to take you to uh, the beginning of how my journey started. So I was 22 years old when I got diagnosed. And after my diagnosis, I fell into this really bad mental place. I felt a ton of fear. I felt scared. I felt anxiety. I felt helpless. I felt angry. I felt resentful. I felt all these all these horrible emotions that really demotivated me from living. I would just go to work. I would come back and I would lay in my bed in just complete like sadness, and I would isolate myself, and it got to the point that I just didn't really have a drive to live. I couldn't understand how this had happened to me. I couldn't understand why this had happened to me, and I felt like it was unfair. And the worst part of it all is I felt hopeless. I felt like there was no reason to, like, what's the point? Like, I can't even eat. I can't even go out with my friends. And prior to my diagnosis, I was always very outgoing. I'm always very talkative, and my diagnosis completely stopped me from being who I truly was. It stopped me, and I was, like I said, angry. I just felt sad. I felt hurt. I felt completely broken, and a lot of people didn't understand what I was going through, and I would just, like I said, I would put this mask. My immediate family knew that I was going through some very hard times, but I would put this mask and just kind of go through the motions of life. But like I said, I didn't want to participate in this world anymore. And the reason being, I narrowed it down, and the reason being that I felt like that is because I felt like no matter what I did, it was impossible to control this disease, and I was going to deal with diabetic complications. No matter what, like, I didn't know that I had a fighting chance. And I'm going to explain to you what made me realize that. But I was also scared of low blood sugar levels. I was scared of insulin. So those two fears completely demolished me, which was the fear of lows, the fear of giving myself insulin, and also the fear of long term diabetic complications. What can happen to me in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Those two things just made my life miserable. Now, when I found out this simple fact, and that is if I emulate the same blood sugar levels as someone with a working pancreas as a type 1 diabetic, I can avoid diabetic complications. No doctor ever told me that. No one ever told me that until I got involved in the type 1 diabetes community. And I'm not going to go too much into that, but that simple fact was what gave me hope. It was like light at the end of the tunnel. If my A1Cs get into a normal range, I won't go blind. I won't have kidney failure. That made me feel like, okay, I have I have an object, I have a goal. Like, if I get really good control over this thing, it's going to help me. Now, the other thing that made me uh, it helped my type 1 diabetes diagnosis, the negative mindset of it, the turmoil that I was going through in my mind, was getting more control over my blood sugar levels. If I understood why I was going up and down, and I was having these lows and I was having these highs, the more I understood why that was happening, the easier it got, and the more positive I became about type 1 diabetes, the more positive I became about my health and my future and myself and in my identity. So it was me, the two things that helped me cope with the negative side of my diagnosis, the negative mindset, was number one, understanding that if I get good control over my blood sugar levels and I emulate the same blood sugar levels as someone with a working pancreas, lower my A1C down, I can avoid diabetic complications. And also, the more understanding that I have over my body, over myself, the easier it was just to live a normal life again. Now, I can tell you that I've been through the extreme of like just complete depression, complete like just negativity all over my mind, and I just couldn't, like, even to the point that I didn't want to participate in this world anymore. To the other end of where I'm optimistic about it. I love dealing with type 1 diabetes. I know it sounds crazy, but type 1 diabetes, I look at it as been the best thing that ever happened to me. It made me healthy. It made me feel purpose. You know, I help other people living with type 1 now. So that journey really shaped me for who I am right now. So if I can tell you one thing, and if you stuck through this, I want you to listen to me, what I'm going to tell you right now. You have to come to terms with it. You have to come to terms that you are a type 1 diabetic, and you have to accept yourself for who you are. You have to accept what happened to you. I know you didn't do anything to deserve this. I know that this wasn't your fault. I know that this disease sucks. I know that this is horrible, and other people don't understand how hard this is, how challenging this is. I know other people don't understand what you have to do on a day by day basis. But despite the fact, despite all that, this is what we have to deal with. And once you accept that, you can truly start to overcome it. If you don't accept yourself, other people won't accept you. Like, if you don't accept what's going on in your life, you won't be able to take ownership of it, and you won't be able to be on top of it and control it. And I don't want that for you. Listen to me. I'm making this video because I truly care for you. And I know you, how do you care? No, because I truly care for other people living with this disease. And my mission is to help them, to make them feel like they have a fighting chance. You do have a fighting chance. But first you have to come to terms with it. The other thing I want to tell you that is very important is you have to master control over yourself. You have to understand your body. You have to understand what makes your blood sugar levels fluctuate. You have to understand everything there is to your body and to keeping blood sugar levels stable, or else you won't live a normal life. I'm telling you, I'm living my life like I did prior to my diagnosis. I'm very outgoing again. I feel like myself again, but that started with me being in control, and that gave me those uh positive emotions. Now, if you are dwelling in self-pity, and if you feel bad for yourself constantly, and if you're angry, and if you're not taking ownership, there's no helping you. There's nothing that anyone can do to help you. The mission starts with you. This journey starts with you. If you don't really want to get out of the place of suffering, then you're not gonna get out, right? And if you just don't care, then you just don't care. That's a whole nother that's a whole nother story. But for that person listening to me right now, I want to speak directly to you. You do have a fighting chance, and your way out of this suffering and this negative turmoil is through. You're back up against the wall, and you can only go through. You can't go backwards. You can't change this diagnosis, but you can only go through. So come to terms with it, and also aim to be the best version of yourself, and also aim to master control over what's going on with your body. Understand everything, why everything is happening with you, with your blood sugar levels. And I'm telling you, other people are living with this disease that feel optimistic, that feel those positive emotions. You don't have to stay in this negative place in your mind, but it first comes with accepting it, and then taking ownership of it, and then understanding how to get better at controlling it. So, with that being said, if you stuck through this video, just know that you're not alone in this journey. There's a lot of people out there that have type 1 diabetes, and that are living a good life. You know, I'm the healthiest I ever been. My A1Cs haven't been above 6 for over 5 years now, and I'm telling you, I'm the healthiest, because there is no in between of health with as a type 1 diabetic. You're either very healthy or you're not. There's no in between. And just be intentional about it. Take initiative. That way you can get out of this negative place that you are mentally. Don't feel bad for yourself. You know, just just aim to get better and improve. Now you're not alone, and reach out to me, comment, like this video if it helped you. Also follow me on Instagram, message me wherever you can. I'm on all the social medias. I have a community of like-minded type 1 diabetics. I'm trying my best to help you, but it all first starts with you. So with that being said, I wish you all the best on this journey. Don't give up, keep on fighting. I know you got this. Stay strong.